Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Play Along Podcast, the podcast where we play through games. And today we are here with the penultimate episode of The Drifter. And I feel like I say this every episode, but things are getting crazy. This episode is also a lot of information, similar to last time, where there's, especially towards chapter 7, there's a lot of like science talk that they do in this. So we won't get in the weeds and all of that, but shit gets crazy. Shit gets crazy. I'm your host, Jared. I'm joined with Kai and Ben as always. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Deja vu. I feel like
Deja vu. I feel like I just talked to you guys.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm refreshed and a nice nap. Yeah, turns out being a perfectionist and like creating a homebrew D&D campaign to present to other people is very anxiety inducing. So
yeah.
Well,
but it sounds scary.
It does sound scary. I know you hate compliments, but I think you're pretty damn good at it. So when we did the Mario the video game one, like you just came up with that shit on the fly. So just like that's awesome.
Yeah, to be honest, it's kind of just a lot of DM. Is like it's kind of similar to improv. It's very much just like yes and.
Sure. Does your group are they all pretty familiar with D&D?
Yeah, we've been playing. We've been playing for a couple of years together now.
I was gonna say, I think for me personally, it'd probably be more. I'd be more anxious to do something like that than with a group of new people because we all don't know what to expect. We're just like, oh yeah, this is how things work. We have no expectation, but people that have been like doing it for life.
It's like having sex for the first time, right? You're like, yeah, I think that was good.
Jesus. Like, all right.
If that was good,
It's like having sex for the first time. A lot of alcohol helps.
I was gonna say, I was crossfaded, so that doesn't help. And this is the section where we all tell our stories.
No, yeah, I think it went all right actually, but yeah,
that's good.
Surprisingly, very anxiety inducing, but I'm good now. I'm refreshed. How are you, Jared?
Yeah, after a nice nap, I've been good. This is, I kind of it's I don't say bittersweet, but like I like starting in the middle of the day because it's like, oh, I've been doing stuff all day, but then it like also feels like it cuts out a chunk of the day too because we're recording so much later in the day. But I don't know. I also feel refreshed. It's like 10:30 for us, and it's nice. It's a beautiful day outside today.
It was confusing because I started playing the Drifter after we recorded the podcast yesterday, and I saw that Ben was playing at the same time that I was after we.
I saw both of you online,
and I was like, oh, okay. And then I stopped playing, waited until like 9 p.m. to start playing a game, and then Ben was also online the same time I was playing the Drifter the second time, and I was like, damn, my man is deep in it. I don't know what time it is for him right now, but that's crazy.
No, that can't be true.
It would have been like 5 a.m. your time or something like that.
I don't. It was
maybe he just had it open.
Maybe it's just a holdover, but the little Discord
maybe
thing comes up and it shows like how long Ben has been playing, and it says like invite to game. It was like 50 minutes at that time.
Yeah, unless that counter is going up, that's usually just like their last play session.
I think it was counting up.
It was counting up. Okay.
It was a different time than when I initially went in.
Maybe that's why I was so tired. I like sleep playing the Drifter. I don't even fucking remember.
I will since we've been doing this podcast. Yeah, Ben was face flipping over here, just min-maxing to get the podcast episodes done. I feel like there's been many nights where I have slowly drifted off in front of this computer playing games for the podcast, staying up way too late.
You wake up in the chair.
I'm just gonna wake up like in our recording, and you're like, Jared, come on, what are you doing? Let's go.
What are you doing? Midway through the intro, you're like, oh.
Yeah. I'm IRL face flipping. Just losing memories and waking up in places I don't remember.
Seeing things.
Seeing things. I'm just seeing like gameplay walkthroughs everywhere I go. All my computer screens are just gameplay walkthroughs at work. I mean, not that I don't spend a lot of my work time.
That's not what is on my work computer.
Hey, what's the phrase? The boss gets $1, I get a dime. That's why I do podcast content on company time.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Speaking of which,
let's hope they don't listen to this podcast.
Nah, they don't. Nah. What are you guys doing at home? Do you have us up on a second monitor at work? You have us in the car? I'm always curious. I know some people already answered this, but it's just like I'm always curious of what you guys doing.
Hopefully, you're not touching your genitalia while listening to this podcast.
That's fine with me. Pop off.
I'd prefer not.
If you're just like, man, Kai's voice just.
No one
gets
has
me
ever
going.
said that. I'll tell you that.
That's not
damn
true.
sure.
That's not true.
Just clapping cheeks to the puzzles of Chapter 7 of the fucking Drifter.
Gets me and my lady in the mood.
I like, yeah, I was like, I like the idea of like, turning on mood music and like you're with your lady, your partner, and you just like turn on
Welcome to Play Along
podcast.
Podcast. That's gotta be rough. Like when you have the fucking, the Spotify DJ, and you're like,
next up is a hit from Play Along Podcast.
Like, oh
no, yeah, no. It's just us yelling about Chrono Trigger in the background, and they're like, "Yeah, keep it on."
Yes.
Joke me.
I like an angry fuck.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, let's get into some housekeeping before we jump into this episode. I feel like I've been, like I've said 1,000 times, we're bulking for the baby coming up, so we've been doing a lot of podcasting recently. So my brain turns to mush. That's why even last episode where I forgot a date like 4 times in a row trying to figure out when an episode went up, but it's okay. It's fine. Okay.
We get through.
Yeah, we get through it. Okay. So whether this is your first episode or your 311th episode, I came prepared this time, I remember it. Welcome to Play Along Podcast, the podcast where we play through games in a book club format. If you don't know, what we do here is myself, Kai, and Ben each take turns playing through a game. We then break it up into sections and come together every other week to talk about each of those sections specifically. Although we are in the penultimate episode of the show, still the perfect time to grab the game, join the conversation, and play along with us. Again, look for those Steam sales, free Amazon games. This feels like a perfect game that would be part of like a Humble Bundle or some Amazon bundle or something like that.
To clarify,
sure.
This is not the penultimate episode of the show. This is the penultimate
Did I say the
episode
show?
of the Drifter.
Oh. And after this, we're gone forever.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Yes, the penultimate episode of the Drifter specifically. We ain't going nowhere, y'all. We ain't.
There you go.
We put too much energy.
It was also very
into this podcast
confusing because when we recorded yesterday, I believe the last episode was the 309th, and now this is the 311th, and I'm really trying to figure out what the 2 episodes that come in between this are now.
There's only one,
Happens when you
310.
flip,
Yeah, remember when it's every other.
That's how counting works.
That's how counting works. Yeah, there's one number in between 9 and 11.
But 9.5. That's not how you count.
Welcome to the 309.5 episode of Playing Along Podcast. Yeah, exactly. We also do another series on the show called Get Wrecked, where we grab a guest from the internet and swap video game recommendations.
I don't think there's been an episode of Get Wrecked where I'm like, man, that wasn't a good one. I feel like they were all like, at least interesting games and like bringing stuff to attention and that. So
yeah, I talked about, this episode has now been like last month's, but I just yesterday recorded the Get Wrecked with Kay. And even if like most of the Get Wrecked recommendations, I've like loved to an extent. There's been things I've disliked, but most of it, similar to this, I just kind of like the conversation about games. Even if a game is not good, like I enjoy the kind of the conversation around it more than anything too. So even vice versa, I think the only person that like didn't like the game I recommended them, there has to be more than one, but the one that comes to mind was Keith, because I recommended Halo Reach and he was like, hey, it's fine, it's all right, it's an okay game. And I was like,
it's a great game. He's wrong. Halo Reach is fun as hell.
Halo Reach is great, and he's like, but if you don't like Halo, then
yeah. To be fair, that was my experience with Yakuza. I think one of the early ones I got recommended Yakuza.
That was our first Get Wrecked. Was that one? That was our very first one.
I was like, I don't know, this ain't for me. Like I can see why people like it, but it ain't for me.
Yeah,
which is probably blasphemy because I know people love Yakuza.
Halo Reach is a good Halo game, though.
Kai's really sorry.
He's real hooked up on it. Like,
I just once again, there are bad Halo games. Like, don't get me wrong.
Halo Spartan Assault that we played.
Spartan Assault. Halo 4 really is not that great, to be honest. Ultimately.
You know what's hilarious is I think I brought this up a couple episodes ago, but I had been recommended Kai and I's old podcast, Game and a Half, and we did an episode talking about like the best games of the decade. And you talked about Halo 4, and you just gassed the shit up of Halo 4. You're like, this is probably my favorite Halos.
I have in hindsight. No, Halo 5. I'm sorry, Halo 4 is great. Halo 5, which is the one that doesn't have local multiplayer. That's 5, right?
It's 5, yeah.
Halo 5, not good. Okay. Also, whatever that Halo that they tried to do open world that no one played.
Infinite?
That was also Infinite was also not great.
I still
but Reach has a 91 on Metacritic. Reach is it's a good story. You should play Halo Reach. All right,
Halo Reach.
If anyone out there wants to play Halo Reach and then shit on Keith, go for it.
Where does that fit into the line? Because I've only ever played 1 and 2.
It's 1, 2, 3 ODST Reach 4.
Mm-hmm.
This guy? Okay.
Yeah. So it's like it's in between
ODST, another great Halo game.
ODST is good.
They
ODST
really went on
and
a run
4.
there between 3 and 4. They were like, we got
used
this.
up all their gas, and then
That would be blasphemy, because
They are
One, two, and
short. The one thing I will say is they are short.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3 are Bungie, and then
Reach.
No, ODST.
I think
did
ODST
Bungie
is
do
also
ODST?
Bungie. Let me tell you.
I know 4 was
developed by Bungie and and then Reach.
Oh my god, who does the new Halo games? Why am I blanking on the team that does 4?
Shit, I don't know.
Fucking what's it called?
My brain, I cannot think of it.
Oh well, 4 was done by Halo Studios.
Well, that's what they are now. What were they called before?
343.
343. Thank you. Because they were rebranded to Halo Studios now.
Halo Studios, because they literally only did Halo games. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
And I think this year the Halo 1 remake comes out, right? Isn't that this year?
Let's find out. Halo 1 remake 2026.
There you go, baby.
Combat.
We get Halo 1 remake this year. We get
Campaign
GTA 6
evolved.
Campaign.
The original Halo was combat evolved.
Yeah. Now the campaign's been evolved. It's better. Yo, I have on the docket for us to do a GTA 6 episode if it comes out this year in November. So we'll see if GTA 6 drops this year.
I'm sure that there's a lot of Kalshi bets out there on whether that's happening or not. So.
I mean, if you guys want to, we don't have to do a GTA 6 episode if you don't want.
I mean, I'll probably buy it. To be
sure,
fair,
I'll probably buy it.
Yeah. I mean, it's GTA 6, man. People have been waiting for this game. Think of the SEO. Think of the content.
Shit. Yeah, that swayed me.
Yeah, think of that. I think that's all the housekeeping. Oh, if you want to recommend us games to play for the book club, join the Discord. We have a whole section dedicated to game recommendations, or let us know on social media. You can let us know on a 5-star review if you want to leave that your things there. I mean, I'm not going to say that a 5-star review recommendation might get pushed up a little more. Look, I can be bought is all I'm trying to say.
Who's to say? Who's to say what it takes?
If you sprinkle a little 5-star review and a game recommendation, let's just say that game might show up sooner than not.
My Cash App name is at
Chrono Trigger Hater 42.
At Chrono Trigger Hater 42069.
No, now that I said that, now they're not giving any reviews. No Cash App money. You're not getting any of it now.
No. Some random Cash App user's about to get like.
If you have the name at Chrono Trigger Hater 42069,
yo, let us know.
You're about to get real lucky.
I just got $100 in Cash App from some random person. This is kind of cool. Hell yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think we have any more. Let me double check because we just did this yesterday, but I haven't checked to see if there's any more Spotify comments for Kai to read and to roast you on your grammar or use of excessive use.
No,
of
I
commas,
said I wouldn't.
apparently.
I will not roast you on your grammar.
What if they're like into that though?
Okay.
What if they
Can't
intentionally
really
use bad grammar?
Yeah. You know how you have like finance pigs and stuff, like a grammar pig.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, I don't know what people's. Yeah, I don't know what people's fucking yums are like.
I feel like that's a yum that feels appropriate to Yuck though. I feel like that one in particular. That one in particular is fine to judge.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into this episode because it's a lot of content. Hopefully, it's not going to be a long one, but it's a lot of content here. So let's just get into it. In the end of the last episode, we ended with chapter 4.
Escaped the melange.
Yeah.
No? Didn't you escape the melange?
Yeah.
That was the last bit, right?
Well, I thought you had more. I thought you were saying more. Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
you escaped the melange, and this chapter opens up with you going to Knoll Road or whatever the fuck it is.
That we had found before.
Where your sister's car is. Which is also
Jeez.
where we believe that the Trinity Biotech lab is.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but it took me a fucking long ass time to figure out how to open them bars.
To get in. Yep. I assumed like my thought process was it took me a while to get into the bars, but I also hadn't opened the trunk yet either. So at that point, I was like, I had parsed to use the screwdriver to kind of open up the trunk, and once I got the jack, I assumed that was going to be used for the bars.
Let me tell you, as someone who's not using a walkthrough to play this game,
okay, I'm not using the walkthrough for everything.
Yeah, but because you go to open so the car is there, the car is unlocked, the door, but the trunk is locked. First of all, Is there not a trunk release?
Yeah, just in the car. The car's unlocked. Did
Why
Dotson's
would there
not
be
have a trunk release?
That's a very normal thing.
I was like, my
Is
car
it?
in the front seat, you just push a
there's
button, the
just a
trunk
button
pops.
or a handle that you pull, and it unlocks the trunk, opens it from the inside.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you learn something
I mean, both my cars have that.
Anyway, sure, let's say that it doesn't have that. But also, when you go to the trunk, it says like, oh, it's locked and it needs a key. And then it says, it looks like someone else has tried to get in with fucking scratches. And I'm like, okay, well, I need the key then, because that means that, like, even if I had something sharp to put in there, I'm not going to be able to unlock it. So then I went looking for a key, because it's like, you can't leave. It says like, no, you need to save need to save Annie. And I'm like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. So then I just started doing the classic of this game, which is trying
Like everything with
every object to every interactable surface. And then the screwdriver in the trunk get unlocked. I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Just say, it looks like I could put something sharp in there and unlock it. Don't fucking do a,
To be fair, I did. The first thing I did was, so you interact with the car and he's like, oh, there's nothing inside. I then went back to the car because I was like, oh, maybe it's like super cliche and she's got a spare key and a sun visor or something.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to get it. So then when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try and jimmy this with the screwdriver.
Yeah. That's kind of my
that's
my thought process.
You get a jack from the back of the car for fixing spare tires, and you stick that between the iron bars, which I'm pretty sure would not work.
You think the jack would break before the bars bent?
I don't. I imagine that most car jacks are made of aluminum, and aluminum versus steel bars. I
mean, it kind of seemed that they were like old bars too, like they're a little rusty.
I mean, if pneumatic press TikTokers taught me anything, it's that with enough force you can break anything.
Also, you probably just break the concrete before you break the bars.
That's true. Have you seen the guy that will do the like hydraulic press, but it's his head, and he'll just like crush like cookies and stuff like that, and that's funny. But yeah, you do use the jack to break the bars open. And before that, too, when you peeked in, you see the bucket hat butcher, dragging a body from that room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's when I was like, oh. And also, I mean, the interior of the room is very like decrepit and very not a high. Yeah, it does not look like a high value lab.
It's giving wet basement. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's giving torture room. Is what it's giving. It's
for
like,
sure.
I'm gonna get tortured. This is Saw that's happening right now.
And we climb right down there instead of calling for backup.
I was like, I love a family member. Don't get me wrong, but just like, I would not be like by myself jumping down there. Ain't no way. I call the police. Although I guess if I thought the police were attacking me too, I think I'd be a little paranoid, which we know that Mick is.
I mean, he has Hara. Like we could call Hara. And at least Hara has a gun. Like we could at least go down there with him. But I guess this is
ain't no way.
I mean, I don't know. Because there's no phone around, we'd have to drive away. I don't know, but either way, we make the intelligent decision, I guess, to go downstairs into the basement, and downstairs we go through the window into the basement. And
we find a image of
that was the other thing. Yes,
in that first room of Roth and Maxwell Holden. And we find out that Maxwell Holden is the bucket butcher. I get them confused.
Yeah. Well, because we see the photo of him looks exactly like the guy that we had just saw drag people away. So Holden is the bucket butcher.
There's also a section of the photo that is cut away that is missing. So there's a third suspect involved in this. Yes, and so then we go down the creepiest hallway ever with someone missing
part of their brain,
face.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was their face or brain. I wasn't sure.
And then there's the weirdest dialogue thing about how he cooked eggs in an aluminum pot as a child, and that it was a just like quivering gray mass that no one would touch. And I'm like, what does that have to do with this? What is?
He's using his descriptors. He's using his big boy words. He's painting you a word picture.
I didn't like the word picture.
Tossing you a word salad.
It needs some juicing up because that word salad was pretty
well, you'd
dry.
expect it to be something like black or red, since it's blood, it's coagulated, but then it's gray eggs, and it's like, well, that's
you don't want that.
I don't really care what color the eggs are. Eggs are eggs. They're probably yummy. But that's just me.
Yo, and the walking into the next room, and there's like this weird tarp in the middle of the room. You pull it back, and it's what we learn later, a cadaver, but
Yeah.
he's like attached to all the limbs, and it's kind of like undulating, and it has part of its head like ripped in half.
The vibes here are not good.
Oh, it's real bad.
It's real bad vibes. And then we get knocked out.
Yes, this puzzle confused me because you rip the tarp off and the thing comes alive, and then Holden comes through the door and is like, "You shouldn't have done that." And then
he
the
has
lights
big
go
like
off.
sloth from Goonies like energy when he
Well,
talks.
he is missing a large portion of his brain.
I guess that's fair.
Which we discover later, but yes.
Yeah, and then he has those lights. And
I'm curious if any of that's true or if that's Mick's hallucinations, though, too.
Well, because I think he has them later, right? Because Hara has them in the desert.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But I thought I had to do something in this situation, so I was like trying to hide behind something in the pitch black.
Nope, you just got to get knocked out.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get knocked out. And then you wake up in
the worst possible place again.
The worst place. You're chained to a radiator with a metal halo that has been screwed into your head.
Get big saw energy I'm getting from this guy right now.
And effectively, we're fucked. Effectively, at this point, we've got no items. Everything's been taken off of us. I clicked with everything.
Yeah. This is one of those. I'll put my hands up. I use the walkthrough.
I put me hands up.
Put me hands up. But even in doing that, again, watching and looking at the steps, this is fucking complex in order to proceed past being trapped in here. Basically,
what you have to do is you have to shout through to the butcher and get the butcher to come and talk to you. There's little bits you can do, like you can break off a little bit of the wall to get a little bit of rubble.
There's a section before this because you're jumping the gun. There's the puzzle section, but before this, the butcher lifts us up and he starts interrogating us.
Yeah.
And
he knows a lot about.
He proves how phase flipping works, essentially. Yes. So he talks a lot about like phase flipping is the next evolution of humanity in the sense that like you have to die to essentially like enable this whatever this ability to jump in time, because the immense amount of stress is the thing that triggers this ability in some people. And so he asks us 2 questions, and you have like the whole slate of options that we have at the bottom up into this point of the game of information. And so you can correctly guess them if you're just using the walkthrough. Like you can tell him the correct things and he won't kill you because he'll just assume you'd already phase flipped before. I died a lot.
I died a lot in this too, because there's a hook that's attached to the metal ring around your head, and he just pretty much stretches you from your hands to your feet until your neck pops, and then you just come back. And he knows that you phase flipped because you answer his questions correctly, and he was like, "Oh, you clearly did. If you knew the answer to my question from before."
Yeah.
It's real bad.
Now then he leaves the room.
Yes.
And we hear a voice coming from the vent next door. And basically what you have to do, I did okay with this until it got to the bit before the surgery. I couldn't work out what I was supposed to do with the broom and all of that stuff. But effectively there's somebody next door, and you come up with this plan of like, he's going to put something in the vent. Again, this is very specific. You have to get the right dialogue things in the right kind of order. But he's like, oh, I've got these tools in here. I'll put them in the vent. So then what you have to do is you have to get the butcher to deliberately crank you up, tap on the pipe next to you 3 times, which I thought was quite cool that when you click it, he doesn't just tap 3 times. He only taps
have to
once,
actually tap it 3 times. Yeah.
I was like, that's a nice thing. But before you do all of that, because I was stuck on that section for a long time. I got him to hook me up, and then I was up there and I got him away from the room, but I couldn't undo the screws on the vent.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to do is get the cup. You're supposed to knock the cup off of the top of the freezer, try and get water off of him. But then you have to, again, before you do that, you have to get information from the guy next door as to where the biolab really
Yeah.
is.
Again, it's
And it's
a lot of steps in order to
it's a
get
lot
here.
of steps, but effectively, like you end up basically wrapping. You snip the cord of the freezer, you wrap it around the around your foot bit, and then
Mhm.
what happens is you get the butcher to lift you up. When he lifts you up, the radiator breaks.
Yeah.
And there's a whole thing you have to do with dry ice. You have to pack it with
Mhm.
dry ice to stop the radiator from spilling, otherwise it
Yep.
kills you. That was a thing that I was stuck on for a very, very long time of trying to work out, because I didn't interact with the broom. I didn't even
Mhm.
see the broom there, to be honest. It was just
Yeah, I
it
didn't see
looked
the
like
room.
something in the
It like
background.
blends in with the background because it's kind of like in between that that ice box and his little desk that he uses. So
Yep.
it's like it's hard to even see it there. Plus, there's
Yes.
already a lot of brown in this area anyway, so it kind of just blends in with the background.
Yeah. And basically he puts you up, your legs break free, and then I didn't know Bill was not Bill. I didn't know that Mick was this agile, because you like swing your feet to
Mhm.
knock the butcher out, but also
Mhm.
like take the halo off of the
Off of the
hook that you're
hook, like you
on.
use your momentum to push yourself off the hook, but pushing him down on the ground and get yourself off of the
Also,
hook
do you know how painful it would be to
to hang from your
hang
head, from
from
drills in your head.
a
I can
drilled piece of
imagine,
metal in
dude.
your head? That
It's
would be
probably
you
worse
would
than
not be able to move.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
so
but
fucking.
yes, you knock out the butcher after completing a truly egregious amount of steps, and really, in Ben's telling, it seems a lot simpler than it is. There's a
Oh, it's
lot of like
much more
having him
complex.
leave the room, having him come back to the
Yes,
room,
there's a lot of
having him
back and
leave the
forth.
room,
Well, he
hanging
ends
you
up
There was
up,
feeds you a
talking to
cat
the
too because you want food, and I
yes,
guess he
you
feeds
have to
you
eat a
mangled
cat
cat.
because that's how you get the cat collar to unscrew
Yeah,
the vent. There's a
and
lot of fucking steps.
there was also a lot for me of like being hoisted up and then not knowing how to get hoisted down, because I didn't
Yes.
have the cat collar disc to unscrew the
Mhm.
vent.
Yeah.
And I was sat
We
there for like 6 minutes
we
in
should
real time.
yeah, we should mention narratively the reason that this is happening to us. Holden is not just a sociopath, but he believes that we are working
Mm.
for Dr. Roth and we're
Yeah.
working for Trinity
For
Biotech.
Trinity Biotech,
And he's
yeah.
trying to extort us to tell him where the Trinity Biotech lab is, which obviously is
Yeah.
absurd since we think we're in it
We
at
think
the
we're in it
moment.
now, which is clearly not.
And part of the reason for and I want to be very careful how I say this, his like the way he's talking and the way he's acting and everything, he
Mhm.
kind of talks in, and he's talking to something that isn't there. He seems maybe
Sweet
like he's
pea.
got like a lower intellect.
Yeah.
Is because he's removed part of his brain, which he says is responsible for phase flipping. So now
Yeah.
he can no longer phase flip, but he is the one who confirms that that's the psychosis, that basically repeatedly
Yeah.
going through this phase flip and living through these like periods of stress
Yeah.
is what's causing the psychosis in people.
He also
who
talks
can
about a
phase
little
flip.
bit too here about his kind of relationship with the
Roth.
doctor with Roth, and how they both kind of mastered this, and they would get a gun and go back and forth with a gun and essentially, I would imagine, kill
Yeah, they
themselves
just
in
keep
order
killing
to
themselves.
activate
Wow.
this thing, which is insane.
But you free yourself, you knock out the butcher, and then you this took me so long to figure out what to do here. You leave the room,
Mhm.
and my first thought was, well, I'm going back to where the cadaver was, because there was a ladder to a hatch. I'm getting the fuck out of
No,
here.
you gotta get your buddy out.
I immediately, I was trying to get him out, but after that, I immediately tried to go out where I came from. I tried to go back out towards the little like hole in the wall where I climbed through, because I was like, I'm leaving. I'll get you out, buddy, and maybe he'll give me like a hands cross boost to get me back up, but I'm out of here.
But you're actually supposed to go left and find some sort of like gas powered axe that you're supposed to use to.
It's just a welding. It's like a welding torch. It's the Australian term for a welding
right.
torch.
Mhm.
So
I was like,
because
gas powered axe. That's crazy. What's
so
that?
the person
like
next to us is a mercenary hired by Roth to
Yeah.
essentially come and kill Holden for whatever reason we don't know. And so he essentially tells us this, and we're like, okay, well, we're gonna help you get out of here. And he's behind a sealed metal door, like which I don't really understand how that works because, like, he keeps yelling the whole time, and then Holden goes somewhere and does something to him, but apparently doesn't go through that door since it's welded shut, and that would be incredibly complicated. So, not really sure what he was actually
And he
interacting
just like
with.
bang the door, like, hey, shut the fuck up. Like I'm
Sure,
I'm
we'll go
working
with
here.
that.
Yeah.
You have to unweld the door shut and essentially let him out, which then you go to now back to where the cadaver is, and you know, our friend here tries to kill Holden essentially,
Yeah.
which we
Sleeper
then
chokes him from behind.
yeah, we get a piece of rebar from
Yeah.
unwelding the door as a
Knock him
weapon,
out.
and we knock him out. And that convinces Holden that actually we're not working for Dr. Roth, that we are all on the same team, and that he's just really trying to find
He
his
just
sister.
it's the 180 is crazy. He's like, we're friends now. We're
Yeah.
okay. We're chilling. And I was like, okay. I still don't really trust you or even like this guy, but I mean, he
Nope.
seems to be helping at the moment.
Not at all.
I was really worried because after this part happens, you grab the gun from the soldier, and Holden talks about an alarm coming off that they're there and they're coming in through the hatch.
Yeah,
So
proximity sensor.
we have like the gun pointing at the hatch, and I saw Hara's jacket as he's climbing down the stairs. I was
You
like,
thought
we're gonna
you were gonna
kill
Hara?
him. We're gonna shoot him and kill him, and he's gonna die here. But luckily that doesn't happen. But I was worried for a second.
Mick's a trained soldier. It would never shoot
Yeah,
anyone.
apparently.
I recognize that yellow jacket a mile away.
Yeah,
Man.
exactly.
It's,
It's our best buddy. What do they call him? Boston
Bebop.
Bebop. Yeah.
And then Hara puts Holden in handcuffs because he offers to get our metal ring removed from our head, and he's like, if you come near me, shoot him, essentially. And so we put him in handcuffs and we take him to our sister's house.
Which again, insane that they didn't decide to arrest him. Hara's like, we'll just bring him along for the ride. I mean, I know they probably see that he has like potential because he knows a lot about this. He knows a lot about the doctor and everything, so he could help. But it's insane to bring him on the journey with us. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. This
absolutely
was the most I struggled.
Is chapter 6
this fucking toy?
This house toy combo,
the battery, the fucking
desert,
battery,
overlaying the map. I was like,
I did this.
Did I get part of my brain removed?
I did this over and over again. Again, it's one of those things where even if you have you have to do them in a very specific order, and if you're not doing them in a specific order, you're not gonna. Because I showed Sarah the map over and over and over again, and it's like, oh, here's the 4 reactors, here's the 4 things. Guess we got to go to one of them, and I was like, cool. How do we do that? How do we go? How do we leave?
You have to talk to fucking Hara about you coming in. Do you have to prompt him enough to you talking about you coming off the train? Which is you're like, oh, there's train track. Anyway, you're in the apartment now with Hara, your ex-wife Sarah.
We have the whole gang here.
The whole gang is here.
Yeah,
and they're ready to go on an adventure.
Yes, and the butcher says something about how he was like, if I can't remember. Oh, we found out it's in the desert through the soldier in the bunker. And the butcher is basically like, well, if it's in the desert, he needs a power source. There's lots of nuclear dumps out there. It's probably near one of them. He's probably found a way to like repurpose the nuclear waste. And so Sarah...
We also learned that from Sarah, who's like, "Oh, I was doing like eco-terrorism a couple years ago."
She was protesting the eco-terrorism of the plants and everything. What the fuck is happening? Hell yeah,
wild. So she gets into like a fin with her eco activist friends, and basically finds a map that has like 4 nuclear dump sites on it. You come across the map in the flat, and you overlay them, and you're like, oh, cool, we've got these 2 maps as reference. Like, we can see where in the desert it is, but the desert's a big old area. And then, like Kai said, you have to kind of like speak with Hara enough that
you get the train conversation.
That eventually Mick says something about the train. But I think the thing, what prompts that is this toy situation with Holden. Yes. So
because the train has the D-cell battery in it.
That's it. The whole time this is happening, Holden's rummaging through these like 2 duffel bags of stuff that he's brought with him.
Yeah.
Now, the thing this game is teaching me is I am not observant enough about the environments in which my game occurs, because
Yes.
I did not see him put this contraption on the floor whatsoever.
No.
I agree.
It's not
it
very
was there
clear.
and then it wasn't there, or vice versa. It wasn't there and then all of a sudden like popped up, and I'm like, this was definitely was not here like 5 seconds ago when I was playing.
No, he puts this weird grey contraption on the floor, and to prompt what you're supposed to do is interact with it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's a fucking himmity bop juba or whatever," and he's like, "Do you happen to have a D cell battery?" And you're like, "No, dog. Like nobody has that like on hand."
Hilarious,
And
by the way. This very integral like device for us to find this just runs on like D batteries.
I mean, it's also not. We never use it.
You do use it,
Is that how you unlock the gate?
yeah.
He uses the little
No.
like thing
Man,
and
it's
you unlock
what
the
he
gate.
does.
I guess. How does he know we need to use it? That's the other confusing
I don't
He's
thing.
know.
smart. He's a genius.
Well, he's not.
But-
We've established that part.
You have to interact with the children's toy box, and you find a train in there, and then basically you give him the battery from the train, and then that's when Mick says to Hara, like, "Oh, the trains! I came through that way.
Mhm.
I come from that direction." And you put 2 and 2 together, and you work out there's only one dump site that is near a train track, and so off you go. You basically the ragtag leave. Sarah finally decides to go and tell Annie's husband what's happening and like where she
Wild.
is, and like this whole I'm assuming this has been like days at this point, like maybe 2 days.
Yeah. It seems like it's been a
Um,
while since this has all gone down.
So she's like, "No, actually, I'm gonna go and tell the husband what's happening," and you're like, "Yeah, that's probably a good fucking idea."
Yeah.
Which we learn later. The context is even worse.
Yes.
Exactly. I love this next shot when we jump off the train and we're in like the desert, and the whole time Hara is just like looking through the night vision goggles, like standing on the hill, just like peering
Yep.
through them the whole
They
time.
have,
I
they
love
have
that.
zoom. They've stabilized zoom.
They do. They have
They
stabilized.
like
funny
20 times zoom.
He's
we
very
elect-
excited about it.
We electrocute ourselves multiple
Yep.
times.
Yeah. So Holden,
Using
we're
the
basically
EM
at
pulse
this,
coil.
we're basically at this like massive metal fence that runs in this random section of the desert. Holden gets in using that contraption, and we have to interact with a bag. We eventually find it looks like a tuning fork or something with
Yeah.
like a power supply attached to it.
Which
And we have to
deactivates
disable the
the cameras. Yeah.
But first, we very importantly, because he just says get the EM pulse cannon out of the bag, we grab a Geiger counter, which becomes
Yes.
a very important
Yes,
item.
Geiger
for the rest.
counter.
And we try Geiger countering the he's like, "That's a Geiger counter, you fucking idiot. What are you doing?"
See, he's
and
smart.
then we do the EM pulse coil.
Yeah.
Go through the gate, and then we have to find
God, this
the
next-
nuclear the nuclear reactor, which you're given
I
a shovel
like
and a
this.
metal detector to try to
Wild that this is like our equipment that we're using to find essentially the entrance to this reactor and this nuclear plant here. But this section is wild of, you know, what's his name? I forgot the doctor's name already.
Roth.
Which
Holden?
Roth?
No, the guy with us.
Holden.
Holden's like
Axel
going around
Holden.
digging, trying to find things, and you have the metal detector trying to find where this possible entrance is, and you find kind of like a metal plate that ends up being like a sign. You swap with Holden, and he ends up getting the metal detector so you can dig. Ultimately, we do find a spot that triggers the metal detector, and Holden grabs the shovel to dig it, and it ends up. This like caught me off guard. This is insane.
Yeah,
It ends
this
up
is wild.
being a mine, and he
Yep.
hits it and just explodes. Holden, he just
Yep.
dies. He
It's
just
perfectly
explodes.
set up too, because so you're switching back and forth between the shovel and the detector, because you originally find a sign that says like landmines essentially, and as you're flipping the sign over and you and Hara are reading the sign that's like, then you look over at Holden, you're like, wait, and he just sticks his shovel directly into a
into a
landmine
landmine and
you-
blows himself up.
just explodes everywhere. Which also, this is the part that doesn't make sense to me, which I know, suspend disbelief, whatever.
Sure.
You put landmines over the air system of your secret
nuclear power
base,
plant.
like, because that's how we get in, is we climb through the air duct that is now exposed by you blowing it up with a landmine. But it's like,
That
is
is
that
a
a
bit of
problem? Don't you
it
need
is
to
a
like
bit of a
fix that?
structural.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're anti-vehicle mines as well, which is the and
Like,
you
there's
have
a massive
they have
hole in
vehicles
this air
there.
vent now.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, if you just drive vehicles over, can you just destroy the whole facility by pulling up all
we
of
don't
Well,
end
what's
up.
funny as well is like when it cuts down, you go through the vent with Hara, and you're crawling through these different areas, and like you see Annie in her room. You see like Annie's the last one. You see like Dr. Roth, and you see the weird kind of hospital room that we see with the curtain around it, which becomes important later. But there's a scene with the Dr. Roth bit. Dr. Roth's like, a landmine. I thought I deactivated all of those. So it's just one random fucking landmine that he's
just
missed.
so happens to be,
Which,
I'm curious. I'm curious too how, because we don't actually get to see. We get to see the entrance sort of, because there's a hatch, but not like in proximity to the gate. I'm wondering how close this landmine was to, like, is the hatch just like a couple steps like back? Could we have easily just avoided Holden getting blown up?
Like in next chapter, you can go through the hatch at the top.
Yeah, I did that.
And there's a sandstorm, but I couldn't see the fence or anything, so I'm assuming it's like a fair way away.
Quite far away,
Yeah. It would be hilarious if it was just kind of like right there next to the landmine that just exploded.
So we then jump down, and we jump down into Annie's room.
Yes.
And basically, Hara and Mick are both like poised and ready with the guns on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Dr. Roth just comes walking in.
Yeah. He comes walking in. Well,
Annie hits us on the back of the head.
Oh, that's right.
Because Hara's standing by the door. We have the rifle, and we're standing in the middle of the room. And Annie takes. What does she take?
She grabs something and knocks us over the head with it. Oh no, it's like pliers. It's like pliers something.
Yeah, something. She grabs something, a wrench, and knocks us out, Mick out essentially. And then we awake with Dr. Roth in the room. Like, oh, I know this must be very confusing for you, and we go through a
Time
whole
Wizard. Mr. Time Wizard himself.
Mr. Time Wizard, who's been following us the whole time. There's no explanation for that. And Mr. Time Wizard's got a lot of excuses.
Well, I mean, I think my theory of this was him following us around was just kind of like bits of our memory coming in. Like he never was around us in the first place. Like it was just kind of like bleeding in from memories that we had from prior that he was showing up.
It would make sense, because what we effectively learn is like Annie is like, before you go crazy, like watch this video, and you go over to the side, and at this point, Hara is like kind of on Roth's side. He's like, I don't know, like what he's saying makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, let's hear him out.
He's playing along, like he's like, I'm not making any judgments thus far.
And we watched the clip, and the clip is Mick effectively agreeing to have this like massive phase flip and go back in time in order to be part of their research. And then the idea is that he will eventually make his way back to Trinity at some point.
Yeah. So essentially, he has agreed to all this. We learned that like Annie has been working for Trinity too.
Consented to everything thus far.
Yeah.
Now this brings up the question: why did they try to kill us at the beginning when we were getting off the train?
Yeah, because they had to induce us, make us think we were dying to trigger the effects of the phase flipping.
Well, no, the reason they're trying, Roth says explicitly those are hallucinations that never happened. We never sent anyone to kill you. They kill him to trigger the phase flipping, but when he's escaping on the train, he explicitly says like, "Why did you try to kill him?" And he's like, "That's just a hallucination. That never happened." No, it definitely did happen. But who's to
I was under the understanding that he's like, well, yeah, we essentially sent our security after you, but their job was just to bring you back and to trigger those. The hallucinations of him dying were just hallucinations. He never had died ever, but he had to get to the point where he thought he was going to die in order to activate the phase flipping and have him go back to right before he died.
I mean, he definitely died when they put the thing that they triggered him with was putting him in the water. That had nothing to do with them shooting him at the beginning, or shooting at him and killing the other guy at the beginning, who also said, "I don't want to go back," which makes sense now because he was also another patient.
He was just a test
of Dr. Roth that was also leaving on the train.
It doesn't really make sense. I won't lie to you, because it's kind of
The whole point is that there's something fishy is going on. That's
Yeah,
the
there's something's
whole.
like it seems as if they're trying to kind of
Yeah.
induce this state of
There-
stress in Mick, but
Mhm.
also people are actually dying.
Yeah.
But then Dr. Roth disputes that, and he's like, "No, the bodies in the reservoir weren't
Yeah.
actually there." It's very confusing.
I wonder because spoilers from the end. We don't get answers, at least not that I know of why Mick consented to this in the first place. And I'm wondering if there was some conversation about because he kind of vaguely brings us up later of being able to go back further in time to essentially stop his son from dying. So I wonder if that was the initial conceit, is just if you can get where I'm at, where I can go years behind because the doctor has been doing this. He's said he's lived thousands of lifetimes, that if you do this as well, if you consent to this experimentation, you might be able to do the same thing that I can do.
It seems that there's something there, right? There's something
Yeah.
in it for Mick, whether that's forgetting his son, whether that's some sort of monetary value or whatever. But
Yeah. It seems
There's
more that he
something
just
there.
wants to help people, because you talk to what's the guy, Sanjay is the other
Sanjay,
doctor,
yeah.
and you say you have that conversation essentially where you're like, oh, is it any way that you could go back 5 years? And he was
Yeah.
there's you would have to even Dr. Roth can't do that. You would need so much neural density, I believe is what they call it, that that's nearly impossible, which we learn
Yes.
how you'd
Yeah.
achieve that later.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
I'm curious too. I'm wondering if this is. I mean, again, like you were talking about, it seems like something's off. All these answers are very convenient, and it's just don't ask questions. This is just surface level. You agreed to be part of this experimentation. Your sister works for us. That's the extent of it. But it seems like there's some secrets that are happening. But I'm wondering if, at the end of the day, it is just him hallucinating from a lot of this stuff, and at the end of it, it's all of it ends up not being actually real. And this is just the extent of it. This is the full extent of the.
I mean, this is kind of
Mystery.
this is kind of foreshadowing what I think happens at the end. But I just think that Roth is such a charismatic person that people just buy into what he's saying regardless. So
Yeah.
I think he told Mick whatever Mick wanted to hear in order to get Mick to agree to it, because then it was additional research that would all kind of fund towards what the end plan is that happens at the end of chapter 7. So I think this is just headcanon for me, but I just think he told Mick whatever he wanted to hear, because the more people who subject themselves to this research, the more data they get.
Yeah.
My hypothesis, which we'll get into around all of this as we go through this chapter, it's not that Mick is hallucinating this. They do the period in which he's having hallucinations is very clear. He has he sees the melange, he sees his son.
Yeah.
And they do cure that. I think that Roth has figured out a way to specifically alter people's memories and the way they think about things. And he's the reason everyone is so calm about this, and the reason everyone is just oh yeah, we've been working here for years, it's totally fine, this is great, yeah, I live in an underground bunker, and the reason there's no one there is because he can because essentially what they're doing is they're remapping the neurons, right? That's what's taking place. They have those cartridges in which they store the specific brain matter that they are changing. And so my assumption is Roth has altered Annie and the journalists' brains to be you want to be here, this is the context of why you're here. And we learned the real reason why Roth has collected all these people here, which also makes sense why there's no one else in the facility, right? Because that's the other big red flag.
There's only a handful of people here.
Yeah, all the people that are here are people we know directly. There's no one else who's just oh, this is another homeless person who's here, who's getting this treatment, who's doing this, right? All the rooms are empty. There's a bunch of empty space in this place. It's only people that we're directly connected to.
That you're right. That would be convenient too, because if you can erase or manipulate memories, then all these people, Sanjay, if you needed to gather people in order to conveniently make them willing to participate and help you with your specific line of work, then you can find doctors, you can find people that have this expertise, change their memory to be oh, I've been here. Sanjay talks about him being and working here for years.
Well, he's been part of this. Yeah, exactly. And there's also there's a very small moment with Annie. So Annie shows you around the facility, and essentially she takes you to the cafeteria. She shows you how the elevator works, because you're going to be doing a ton of navigation back and forth and up and down and up and down and up and down the whole time, because there's essentially 5 levels to this place that you have to go, top level all the way to the bottom. And so you go talk to Annie, and you're like, what is going on here? Like, you've been gone. I thought you were missing. You didn't tell anyone. You didn't call anyone. And she's like, oh, I guess you're right. Like, I guess I've just never told my husband. Haha, I should probably call him. Like,
Yeah.
she seems like someone who like it didn't even occur to her to do that. Not because she's a terrible person. Clearly she's not. We've seen her care for Mick throughout the beginning of the game, but she's saying that because she didn't have that memory to do that. She's like, oh, like it just dawned on her that was even part of her reality. So my assumption is that they're being manipulated in some way to carry out this work for Dr. Roth, who has figured out how to, control those around him.
Well, and he even talks about how Holden is the crazy manipulative one, and something tells me that it's probably the opposate. That Dr. Roth is.
I think they're both bad.
A little bit of both. Yeah.
I don't know if Holden was the most sane character.
Well, we didn't get to see him post or pre half-brained, so who knows? Maybe he was.
He did that to himself. Roth didn't do that to him.
I know.
He ripped out his own face-flipping part of his brain, which even Holden admits. He's like, yeah, Roth has the technology to do this without me, without removing part of his
clearly
brain,
he didn't save him from the hallucinations because he still talks to himself.
No, he wanted to keep that was very explicit.
Oh, I see.
He wanted to keep Sweet Pea. He's like, I know this is bad for me, and I know it's killing me, and I could get rid of it, because that's what he's saying that he's going to do for us. He's going to remove the face flipping part of our brain as well as the part that's causing the hallucinations. But he kept his hallucinations because he gets to talk with Sweet Pea, which I assume is the wife from the picture, which we learn later.
I thought it was Roth's wife.
Wait, it is Roth's.
Yeah, no, it is.
It is.
Oh, I see. Yes.
But I assume Sweet Pea is still Roth's wife. That's the hallucination, because there's clearly a weird thing there.
There's
going on with Roth, Holden, and this.
How deep do we want to get in the fetch quest of all
I
of
was
this?
going to say, the puzzle and fetch quest of this is a lot. I don't think we have to get into specifics. We can kind of talk about, generalities with these puzzles and how we felt about some of the puzzles, but I don't think, because there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of going up and down to different floors.
I want to talk about, like, two in particular. I want to talk about the makeup compact and the secret room, and I want to talk about the fucking Geiger counter, because this Geiger counter was the fucking death of me.
I'm wearing pants, by the way. I keep like scooting up, and you'll see my leg. I'm wearing shorts. They're just like riding up, so I'm not wearing pants.
That's hilarious because no one noticed or even would even think about it.
No.
Now I think you're not wearing pants.
I can't remember which one of you it is, but one of you has seen me topless on this. That's like,
it's Kai. No, I saw my shirt in just
I'm wearing pants.
And
it's just funny. It came out of nowhere and was so defensive. He's like, I just want to let you know I'm wearing pants right now. I'm definitely in a pair.
I just didn't want anybody else to think that I'm just
also
like,
those are shorts.
Okay, well, I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing
anyway,
shorts, Ben, the two puzzles.
Please explain the fucking
this compact.
This killed me.
So it starts off, you find a very innocent makeup compact in Annie's room.
Oh, that's
yeah. And so I was like, I'll give it back to Annie. And Annie was like, oh, I don't fucking want it. You can keep it.
Doesn't make any sense.
Does not make any goddamn sense.
It's hers. It's in her room. It's on the floor.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I thought I threw that away anyway. Like, I don't need it. So I'll go with the TLDR version. Effectively, what you're supposed to do is go up to the top floor where Hara is. So the top floor is like a car park with a lift to the surface, and Hara is preparing a truck for in case we need to leave.
Yeah.
You're supposed to take a screwdriver from the back of that truck, interact with the coffee beans that are to the side.
Yeah, you gotta cut open the beans.
Grab a handful of beans, go down to the canteen, put those into the grinder. That goes everywhere. You then put the ground coffee beans into the compact. You then find the room in the maintenance corridor, but you can't get in because there's a key code. So then you go and speak to Hara, and Hara's like, oh, if we had a forensic team, we could dust that for prints. And then you go down, you interact with the compact with the keypad, you basically find that it's all smudged because you've been trying to jam all the numbers. You then have to leave, come back, and someone has
specifically has to like have conversations with Hara or interact with things in order for someone to use the keypad.
Yeah. And then someone has used the keypad, so then you have the digits, and then you interact with it, and the door opens. I'm making it sound really, really sort of
Bro,
like it
there's
flowed quite well.
nothing that could possibly. I mean, the forensics thing is one thing, but like even the coffee beans are tucked away in the corner at the top there, and how you wouldn't even know it's a palette.
That's the most egregious part. Like, look, Dustin
Yes.
for Prince, he gives the prompt to say that. That makes sense.
The
Totally
forensics and
get it.
everything.
You could have just had the compact part, because like the compact has some makeup in it. You use the brush to dust the prints. That makes sense. The coffee aspect of this is so unnecessary. First of all, I drink a lot of coffee, and I have multiple coffee grinders. You would have to grind so incredibly fine for this to even sort of work. Like Turkish coffee levels of grinding, which I don't think that fucking percolator normal ass coffee pot is doing. That's already an absurd aspect of this. Secondly, why? What? Also, the most annoying thing about the coffee beans is they're up by Hara, and you interact with them, and it says, "Oh, you can't cut through and it uses like the technical term for whatever those fucking knapsack ass coffee bags are, which I'm like, okay, cool. You stab it with the fucking screwdriver, because it's apparently the screwdriver is essentially the magical key of this universe.
Yeah, the screwdriver works for everything.
And then I just assumed like, oh, okay, we have coffee beans now.
No,
so then I went down. You
again.
have to physically pick up the coffee beans from the floor that have spilled out of the bag. You have to interact with it 3 times to be able to get the coffee beans out of it. I'm like, why?
Yeah, that is, and again, the palette that these bags are on are the most background ass image I've ever seen. Like it doesn't look important. It just blends
until I read
in.
the walkthrough, and I was like, what?
It's the broom in the torture basement all over again. Like they're just kind of there in the background. And I mean that's like when I talk about this, the reason it was so egregious to me is because this was like a good 40 minutes of my playtime yesterday was just trying to work out how to get into the fucking the room. I had everything. I had beans, and I had coffee compact, and I had secret room, but I didn't have everything together in the right order to get access to the room.
I mean, even the fact of having to go back and then interact with something and then go back to the keypad to see that someone had gone into that room is like a lot as well.
To speed up the story, you open the secret room, and there's a woman in there who we later find out, based on a picture in Roth's room, because that's one of the things that you do in this section, is you steal Roth's key card, is Roth's wife and the third partner of Trinity Biotech. Which he lies to you when you go and confront him about the woman in the coma. He says like, "Oh, we help coma patients sometimes. The family was going to pull the plug, and I couldn't be responsible for that. Like I wanted to, do what I could, so I've kept her, and like for her privacy, we keep her between a locked door," which is like a pretty good answer. It's like, okay, that's plausible.
This is not just a locked door. This is a secret door that blends in with the wall. By the way, this is not just a locked door.
Yeah, well, privacy and whatnot. But yes, so obviously a suspicious answer, but an answer nonetheless. And then once again, we learn who it is. And then the Geiger counter, which is the other aspect of this.
Is that the other puzzle you're talking about? The
Geiger
counter?
Yes.
Geiger counter, dog.
So there's Eric Klein, who is the physicist of the group, and he's the one who maintains all of the machines. He's the engineer who essentially keeps the whole nuclear reactor working. And there is the 2 Geiger meters that exist on both ends of this like platform at the very basement of where the nuclear reactor is. And essentially you're prompted to pull out the Geiger counter to test the Geiger counter against whatever the readings are. And the readings in the room are like 14.46 parts per million. And the Geiger counter doesn't react at all. It's 0. And so you talk to Klein and you're like, hey, why would it be that the reading is for 14.46, but my Geiger counter is 0? And all he says is, oh, well, it must be broken.
Yeah.
That's the only prompt you get to like.
You probably just be like, I can't use this anymore then. It must just not be useless.
Also, I want to say as well, like, this dude is so dismissive of Mick, from the get-go. So I was just like, he's just giving like a fucking arsehole response. He's just like, oh, it's probably broken. He just doesn't want Mick near him. Yeah. So I did not think
you're supposed
anything
to
of
logically think, oh, screwdriver. First of all, once again, screwdriver, magical key, solves all the problems.
that's the theme of this section. Is the screwdriver knows all.
You're supposed to take the screwdriver to the Geiger counter in your inventory, unprompted, and you get the Gauss Geiger tube, which I guess is the thing that makes a Geiger counter work, which has been broken, presumably by the massive explosion that we survived when fucking Holden stepped on the landmine. And like, then, even more insane, we have to find a replacement, which we ask Sanjay, the other doctor, who's like the computer engineer, because he's the one who apparently does inventory, and we're like, oh, do you have one of these? My Geiger counter's broken. And he's like, oh, those are all part of the neural interfaces we use, which are the masks that they put on to essentially phase flip. And he's like, we need all of them right now. We don't have one free. And it's like, oh, well, okay.
Can't use it then.
Looks like I don't get one.
What's really interesting is like, when I solved this puzzle was because of the walkthrough. I already had the mask in Roth's room in my inventory. The only reason I did it is because the walkthrough told me. I never thought prior to this because I was just like, the fucking Geiger counter's broken. I don't need to interact with it. It's now just
I don't need it anymore.
Well, also, guess what you need to do to get the tube out of the mask. You got to put the screwdriver to the mask. And you pop up the tube.
Yeah.
Like,
my favorite thing too was even just being able to get Roth's card to get into his room using the nicotine gum on like the piece of paper in order to like make it go all crazy.
Two things are true in this universe: screwdrivers solve every problem, and nicotine gum is the most unbelievable stuff. You can plug a pipe with it. It's flex tape. You can plug a pipe with it. You can stop a fucking readout machine to cause an error with it.
It's crazy. I was like, crazy. Would have never thought that. I mean, like, gum poking a hole in like water, even though that's insane. Like, I guess I can see the connection, but like using the gum in order to like disrupt the meter and everything is insane.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's a lot of versions of this though. You do a lot of back and forth puzzle solving. The masks explicitly that we talked about at the beginning. The mask comes down from the showers, essentially, in all of the rooms. We don't know that at the time. We just think it's Roth's room. Because Hara is hiding in Roth's room when we're searching it as well. And he's like, oh, I found this thing, which is another insane prompt, is that you get like a wire hanger from one of the bedrooms.
The pliers.
And you have to combine it with the pliers to get it's insane. And then you pull the mask down, you cut the mask off to use it as evidence, I assume, which is probably not something you'd want to do.
Well, you cut it because it looks as if it's a gas mask.
It looks like a gas mask.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with that wire that you were saying is like the wardrobe's off to the side, and I'd interacted with that, and he just is like, "Oh, Roth has a lot of lab coats, like only good if I need another coat hanger." And then the situation happens with Hara, and Hara's like, "Oh, have you got something to hook it?" And I was like, "Well, there's a coat hanger." So I went and interacted with the wardrobe and got the same prompt. And he was just like, "Oh, if I need a coat hanger," and I was like, "Well, I fucking do.
I need a coat hanger."
I had to click it again, and then Mick was like, "Oh, okay, well, like, don't mind if I do," and then took the coat hanger.
Any of the closets twice.
Yeah, I wonder if there's maybe not, but I got 2 coat hangers. Like, I interacted with it again and got another coat hanger. So I wonder if there's another use case for the coat hanger at some point.
There is definitely not. There are so many things you get in this section that I feel have no use case. Just
it's a whole inventory of iron coat hangers
that you can have.
Yeah. Those were the 2 most egregious puzzles for me personally. And I
think those are generally the most complex ones in this section.
Yeah, I did say honorable mention to the fucking vegetable soup situation.
Oh yeah, the meal ticket.
The whole time, like, Mick is talking about he needs a knife, he needs a knife, he needs a knife. And they have this like machine that scans you, and Mick gets a soup. And so I went and redeemed the soup, got my soup in a plastic spoon, tried to trade it with Annie, who's the one who has the steak knife. And I guess now I'm thinking about it, it makes sense. She's not going to want just a random cold vegetable soup.
Correct.
You're supposed to give her the slip before you redeem it.
So she can get it whenever she wants.
But then she gives you the steak that she has redeemed in order to get the knife. And it's like, okay, sure, fine. But that took a little while of me.
So you go for it.
I was going to talk about just the insaneness of that whole machine where you step into it, it scans your body's needs, poops out a ticket, and it's like, oh, you're low in iron. Here's a steak. And I was like, that's kind of crazy. Like,
that would be nice. We need that.
That would solve so many healthcare issues. Yeah.
So there's kind of 3 major story beats in this section. There is Hara is trying to escape, and we need a can of petrol, which kind of kicks everything off in this entire section. Is like you have to find a can of petrol so that we can put it in the car so we can escape if we need to.
We can have an escape plan. If
there is finding the motive and reasoning behind why Roth is doing whatever he's doing. And there's killing your sister. Those are kind of the three big things that happen.
Those are the three big things.
How do we want to tackle those in what order?
Well, let's start with the killing the sister, because killing the sister is like the thing that changes everything, right? So, effectively, when you go through all these things, you find out where the petrol can is, and then you go to get the petrol can. It's behind one of the Geiger counters in the bottom area.
You're also having a lot of hallucinations up to this point too. Seeing your son,
and skipping randomly into different parts of
Yeah, there was one time I was in a lab and then I was in the corridor. There was a melange creature in the corridor with me. And at this point I knew they were hallucinations, so I wasn't like panicking. I was just walking past them. Yeah. Which made sense, because what happens is you get the thing and then Alec appears, and Alec is talking. You've been talking the whole time about, could I go back in time and forget what everything that happened with my son? And so Alec is like trying to have a conversation with Mick, and Mick is like, "You're not real," and walks past Alec and like pushes the ghost of Alec out of the way. As he's walking towards the elevator, you hear Annie's voice and is like, "Mick, fucking help me!" And you look around, and it's Annie who's hanging off the handrail. Yeah. Now, understandably, like the hallucinations are getting worse at this point. So Mick is like, "Are you real?"
Right. He's questioning everything at this point.
Yeah. And he's like, "Of course I'm fucking real." And you go to save her, and she slips and she falls and hits herself on like, I don't know what it is. It's like some sort of metal tank that's in this pool of cooling oil. You go and get Roth, you fish her out, and Roth and Angela, we forgot about that. Angela's here as well.
Oh yeah, the reporter is here working for the company as well.
She's been basically contracted to like write propaganda for Trinity, basically,
until they're ready to go public. It is very convenient.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense. She seems to just be down with it. Like there's no questioning.
Yeah, Ross, like I'd rather have her writing for us than about us. It's kind of thing. Like have her on our side.
Yeah, I get the only thing is like she seems it as like a juicier scoop. I guess like she's got.
I can see her being willing to participate because she's always looking for information like that. But I think your theory is kind of it's.
So basically she's like, Annie's dead, and Roth is like, okay, well, in the nicest way, he's like, well, this is perfect because we actually have a brilliant opportunity to show you our machine and everything about the phase flip, and we can bring your sister back. And he explains, you go to the room where Sanjay is, and he explains that they have this thing called the quantum coupler that basically expands people's neural capacity. Sanjay's like, you have something like 86 billion neurons in your brain, and this is what allows you to jump back in time a certain period, but you're limited because you only have 86 billion. He's like, if we have somebody else, we can multiply that and we can take you back in time like 15 minutes, and that's enough time for you to be able to save your sister. So Hara then has to basically also get into the coupler. And Hara is also experiences what the phase flip, what they're going back in time. So we phase flip, we then save Annie. Annie comes down the elevator and we don't see Alec. And then we're like, Annie, oh my God, you're alive. She's like, yeah, of course I'm alive. And he's like, oh, like I killed you. And she's like, what do you mean? And you explain about Alec and his hallucinations. And she's like, if you come with me, we can use the machine and we can stop your hallucinations. And then that's when you go upstairs and you think it's going to be a whole ordeal. They put the headset on and Mick's like, okay, right, do it. And then Annie's like, it's done, dog. Like, that's it. It's finished. And Mick's like, is that it? And she's like, yeah, that's it. Like, it's gone. Your hallucinations are gone.
And again, I think it goes back to my theory of just like a lot of these things being real based off of like Mick's own believing that they're real. So even just like telling him that like, oh, you're cured now. He's like, oh, I'm cured. I'm not having, like, he believes it enough that he can manipulate those memories to being reality.
The brain's a powerful thing. Like, it could be that psychosomatic.
You
Like,
also
it could
didn't have
be.
to invent a giant fucking machine to
It
do
looks like
that.
the
You could just
Animus
use the
from
flashlight and be like,
Assassin's Creed.
"You're healed
It does,
now,
yeah.
yay!"
That's the
Yeah,
one big thing we've said
Yes.
about the wife, and this is when I suspected Holden was up to something anyway, but
Of
this
course,
was
he's
quite
suspicious
clear.
as hell.
Well, he also flips out when you start
Yes.
saying about his wife. You're like, no, you did something to your wife, and what we learn
Yeah.
is that his wife is effectively in a coma because of something that went wrong early on with the research.
Yes.
And this is the means, the motive, the opportunity. So the means is the gas mask.
Yep.
So what we learn is by putting 2 and 2 together, and the Geiger counter, when we do fix it, the Geiger readings that they have in the lab are actually fake. It's not 14 parts per million. It's close to 500 parts per million, which is like wildly unstable. So that's the means. Then the motive is the wife. His motivation is to gather people together and
In order to save his wife, essentially.
save
well,
his
he
wife.
needs, yeah, he
He
needs a
needs-
certain amount of neural density. So essentially,
Yes.
the same principle of using Hara as a way to go back 15 minutes, but he needs,
He needs a
so
lot of
many
people,
and he
yes.
needs them to all die at the same time to harness
Yes.
that amount of neural mass to go back before the accident with his wife and save his wife.
Yep.
Which is why everybody is going to have on those masks that are in the bathroom. So the idea, I'm assuming, is when the reactor trips, kind of like oxygen masks in the airplanes, these will all drop down. Everybody will run to their bathroom, put this on, and then together, using their combined neural pathways, they will be able
give them
to
enough
phase
power
flip.
to go back before the accident.
Yes. Now, obviously, there's a maliciousness to it because these people think that they're living in a
Willing
very safe
participants too.
environment, and they're like willing participants, and they're not kind of being used. But we know now that basically this is all just a ploy to get enough people together for Roth to be able to do what he wants.
Yeah.
What was the other first storyline you said?
That was it.
So
You
we got
covered
the-
it. Petrol
was it?
can, which the whole thing with the petrol can is you talk to Air Klein enough, and eventually he says, like, okay, I'll tell you where the petrol can is if you do something for me. That's why you plug the pipe with the gum. You plug
That's
the
it,
pipe.
yeah.
He tells you where the can is. That prompts you to do the whole killing your sister side plot story, which then gets you to get rid of your hallucinations, which then you eventually piece together the whole shebang with Hara at the end. And right as you piece together all of what's happening, the motive, what is going to happen to all these lovely people, what happens, but the reactor starts melting down, kicking forward Roth's plan to go back and save his wife. And that is where chapter 7 ends.
Yeah.
And that's
We'll be able to stop Roth.
Section.
Yeah, we jump into the lift with Hara, and basically Hara is like, we don't have time to stop this reactor. We basically have to get your sister, and we have to get the
just
fuck out
leave.
of here.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. And
another crazy cliffhanger.
Crazy cliffhanger.
Well, again, I'm curious with Kai's theory, and that's kind of where I'm leaning to, where like all these people have been manipulated and used. I mean, again, the goal again was just to have them in order to save his wife. So it makes sense if they're all just manipulated to believe that they're there for a specific reason too.
Yeah, I think I partly agree with it, but also I think part of it is Roth deliberately picking people who he knows will be kind of swayed. So you got to think like,
well,
he's got Angela who wants the scoop, right?
Yeah.
Annie is like interested in the
she's a
psychiatry
psychologist,
application. Well, she's interested in psychiatry applications and how they, she has a whole speech about how it could potentially cure suicide ideations. It could cure depression. Herr Klein is all about like the gravitas of the reactor and the engineering and everything that was involved in. Like, they're all people who want to be the best people in their field, and I feel like, I don't know.
Well,
I could see it being Roth manipulating it through phase shifting,
yeah.
but I could also see it being Roth like carefully targeting and picking these people and manipulating their want for greatness and their want for success.
Yeah. And, it might not even be, like you're saying, it might not even be using the manipulating their memories. Again, we talked about the phase flipping. We talked about quantum what's it called,
Cognition?
quantum cognition, about how the like every possible reality is a reality, and he's been doing this for so long, and he could just keep going until he finds a reality where he has these people that are here now and willing participants. And again, the whole plan around how this started was homeless people going missing, using them to kind of create better opportunities, give them places to stay, like also manipulating them. But I think that it's again Roth going back and finding realities where all these things, where it lines up, where he has everything that he needs in order to save his wife.
Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? This is such a random comparison, but you watched My Hero, right, Jared?
Yeah.
You know how, like, I don't know if Kai's watched it, but you know how One for All, I don't know if you remember, there's like a monologue he does in the cave before the end kind of fight, and he's talking about how he has hundreds of pathways planned, and he's like, if I go down this pathway, then I just diverge off and I go down this. It kind of seems like that.
Yeah.
Like Roth has like all of these like branching ideas that he could do, and when one doesn't work, it's all the impression I get is like he potentially just phase shifts back to beforehand and then goes down another branch.
Yeah. My thought too was just like, why didn't he do this originally? But because it was so early in them learning about this, he probably didn't have the means. And now that by the time they did have the means, he didn't have enough power to phase shift that far back in order to save his wife. Which is why he kind of has now created this plan in order to get the people that he needs in order to
it'll be
all
interesting
together
as well, because like I don't know how many. I mean, if you got to think, right, like he had, so Mick and Hara were able to go 15 minutes.
Just the two.
So like how many people does he need to go like years back in the past?
Lots.
Yeah.
So that's what
it says people have been going missing for a while, so he might have like
you might just have a server farm of people in suspended reality somewhere.
It's like wow, another Rick and Morty comparison. It's like one of the earlier episodes where one of the Ricks was trying to hide themselves. So there's like all the Mortys tied to the thing being stabbed because the pain of the Mortys like blocked the signal of a Rick being there.
Maybe he's just got like a brain farm.
He's got a brain farm.
Brain farm underneath.
Now that begs the question of like, why have the masks in the bathrooms? But we will.
But you're right. We don't see anybody here. It's just us for the time being. No one else is here. There's no other test subjects. There's no other anybody else.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of strange things going on. Hopefully, it ties it all together at the end here. You know, one can hope.
And I mean,
I just realized as well. Not only that, but like we have disconnected Roth's mask.
Yeah, he will not have a mask.
Roth will be the only one. I mean, in theory, he might be able to get into another room, but like if he goes into his bathroom, he won't have a mask. So like, is there like a repercussion? Is he even going to be able to phase flip?
Yeah. Or is he going to have some like wild reaction to it being the only one not masked up?
I mean, dude. The way he reacted when we confronted him about his wife, like his whole fucking demeanor.
I mean, here's the reality of the whole moral question of this story. Is it wrong to kill people to go back in time if you know that those people won't die if you successfully achieve that? Because that's the question here, right? Like Roth is sacrificing all of these people to go back to a point in time in which he hadn't sacrificed any of those people and live that moment forward. So it's like, morally, is that even wrong? Like, they'll never know. You'll never know that you died. Like, the timeline changes and everything goes from that point moving forward.
This came up in, well, I was talking about an Expedition spoiler, but I guess you haven't played Expedition all the way through yet. But this theming of just like sacrificing individuals that may or may not exist in certain capacities comes up in that game too, of just like the moral quandary of just like, is this real? Does these people not even matter? Are the lives not even important? Because by the time we go back, they'll still be alive and I won't have to sacrifice them at that point.
Well, and you have to also understand it from Roth's perspective. Roth has lived so many lifetimes at this point, and he's seen so many people die and come back, phase flip. Well, it's not that he's tired. He's just like immune to it. He's like, oh,
sure,
it's kind of part of it. Like, they're gonna come back. Like, I have complete control over the timeline, and I just need to go back to this point. So why does it? And
really I'm still curious, because I don't know if it's just an initial placement to kind of get the ball rolling, but I keep thinking back to the guy in the train cart. And was he just an experiment, or is he more tied directly into? I mean, Roth is a kind of like bearded man. He has white hair and everything like that. This could be a version of Roth. You know, this old man that was in there. Maybe it is Roth to an extent. I don't know.
Let's hope we get an answer, and it's just not
Well,
a
maybe
plot
we'll
hole
figure.
that exists.
Yeah, or maybe it's like Mick's subconscious. Like he knew that he phase flipped, and he was like, "I don't want to
Well,
go back to that place."
Again, I brought it up too. We see Roth throughout all of this, and I think it's just his actual memories before being essentially wiped, bleeding back into his reality. I don't think any of those
True.
scenes
Those
we
could
saw
be
with Roth are real.
hallucinations for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you don't know
Or it
what's
could
true.
be Roth trying to maintain a timeline in which he knows.
I
he
mean,
ends
him
up with
walking
the
and
right-
looking at his watch is just like, okay, this is Mick is doing the right thing at the right time. I can continue now.
That was the impression I got when we first saw him.
Checking in on us.
Yeah, like Kai's question's a good one, isn't it? Because it's like, where do you stand morally with that? Because like, are you actually even killing those people if at the end result they're still alive?
Yeah, it's kind of like killing NPCs in a video game. It's like, oh, you don't really feel bad for them. They don't know what's happening, and they're just they get reset anyway. Like it doesn't really matter ultimately.
But then I saw Wreck-It Ralph, and that kind of like put a whole new spin.
Ben is now a video game pacifist. He feels really bad.
I will say that like in decision based games, usually I have a hard time like being mean to characters. Like I do feel like a moral conundrum in doing that.
Would you feel that moral conundrum if you knew that the outcome for that person was a positive outcome? Do you know what I mean? Like the reason you feel mean is because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. Like if you've set everything up and you know the outcome and you know that the outcome is effectively a reset.
I mean that's I was gonna say that's different too, because like in that kind of situation, it leads to a positive outcome. But the thing I did still had happened with that person, where here it's a full like the people being sacrificed will never even know they were sacrificed in the first place.
Well, they won't know anything.
They won't know anything. No. They don't know anything.
They won't know anything about face flipping or any of this. And maybe that was the thing with Mick. It's just like, hey, I need you to help me carry out this insane plan so that I can go back 15 years to save my wife. But the deal is that I will save your son. You'll never know. Your son will still get sick because that's in the timeline. But I'll save your son, and that's the trade. Like that's
what I was saying. That would make sense why Mick is a willing participant, because it has to do with something with his son, either getting the memories wiped or saving his son in the first place.
But so now the thing I'm confused about is if we think about Mick, who went back and had the phase flip right to the beginning where he was in the train.
Yeah.
Mick has no memory of anything to do with Hara and stuff like that. Well, not Hara, with Roth and Trinity and all of that stuff, right? But why did both Mick and Hara remember that Annie died, and they remember they went back in time to save Annie?
The explanation is that in his first face flip, that has some impact on his, like that's what they say. They're like, we needed to kill you, we needed to do it rapidly, and that was at the video. And it's like, what happens when you do that first phase flip is you essentially forget the context of all of that. You like lose, and it's like, I'm gonna find my way back to Trinity Biotech even though I've lost all of this memory of what's going on. Essentially, that's what. Now, once again, insane plot, doesn't make a lot of sense. Probably a better way to do that than just throwing a guy on a train and being like, "Find your way home." Like that seems fucking insane.
So what I'm saying is, like, effectively, like the first one's free, right?
Yeah,
like the first time the reactor goes off, these people won't remember.
Your mind wiped, and then when you die. Then you have the next time,
because effectively, in theory, if this doesn't phase flip far enough, Roth will have to do this again, and he'll have to build the lab and accumulate people and try and get more people.
Or he already has a contingency in which he's tried this a million times. Like he can go
he's
back,
lived 1,000
because he's trying to go 15 years back. He could go a year back, a couple days back. That's easy. He just has to get enough neural mass to do it. So it's like, okay.
But what I'm saying is, like, they forget the first one. So after that, surely they're remembering each time they're face flipped.
Right. After the first one. That's why Roth sent the guards to us, because we needed to get that first.
Maybe he has mind control. Maybe he made us forget.
Maybe that's what I'm saying, is because they have those cartridges, so
Yeah.
maybe there's something in the cartridge, because effectively what it is computer data, right?
Yeah.
There's computer data that they're putting into the brain to
Well,
interpret.
maybe
If you think of it all as variables, right? It's like Roth is trying to create a timeline in which it enables him to go back and save his wife. So if Mick has to be on that train car, Mick has
Yeah.
to be attacked, Mick has to be put in the water.
Yeah, that's
He's
what I was
ensuring
saying.
all of these things happen so that he
falling
gets
into
the
place.
optimal outcome, so that everyone comes together and he's able to achieve his end, right? Like, how
Yeah.
many times has he attempted this where he's had to figure out what every variable
Different
and every piece
outcomes.
is
Yes.
that leads you to getting to actually go back to his wife, right? It's like,
It's the memory wipe thing that's throwing me, because what I'm thinking is, like, if he memory wipes everyone with the reactor, like Sanjay and Klein are going to remember that they've been phase flipped after the first time, like when it happens again, if it happens the second time.
Mm.
But
Well,
I guess what you guys are saying is, like, he's done so much research leading up to this.
Yeah.
and I'm not saying he's like, because not everyone can phase flip.
I was going to say, as of right now, we
people.
only know Roth and us and Hara.
Shit, yeah, that's completely,
can
I
phase
forgot about that.
No
Only
one else
certain
can. They
people
just
can.
have their memories manipulated, apparently. I mean,
Yeah.
So if you can't phase
Allegedly.
flip, then you can't remember. So
Yeah.
who knows how many times Sanjay and Klein have died in order to
Once
try and
again,
fucking...
there's a lot of plot holes and questions, which I hope
I
will be
don't know.
answered.
Yeah, I was like, they're not plot holes yet. They're just unanswered questions.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I have a feeling
that's
that
what
we're
I'm
rapidly
saying.
approaching large
Sure.
plot holes that are unanswered.
Sure.
If my
but as-
experience with games like this previously are any, representation,
I understand, but a lapse of information doesn't necessarily make a plot hole until there's no more ways of getting information, and at that point, then it does become a plot hole.
Yeah, it's not a plot hole until the credits roll. That's
Yeah, it's true.
And
then
we
you're
will
like,
see
yeah,
on the next one.
next
Slap my Dragon Ball
the
Z.
ending episode of The Drifter, our saga.
I
ends.
mean, we could just do kind of thoughts leading into the finale, because we've all speculated on our
Yes.
theories going into this. I don't have any issues. Again, I talked about this with Outer Wilds, and I've been doing it here and there. I'm using the walkthrough for some of these puzzles. The narrative is so interesting that it doesn't feel like I'm just wanting to know more about the narrative.
Mhm.
So some of these puzzles are so complicated that I'm just like, I just want to know more about the narrative. I don't need to have the very specific coffee grounds into the makeup and using the makeup on the thing. And while that's, like, I guess interesting because it's complex amount of steps to get there, it's the directing of those puzzles is, I don't know if it's done well to an extent, right? Some of them are hard to kind of follow the thought process. It's like if someone created a puzzle and it was like, well, I know the solution because I created the puzzle, and you're like, how the fuck am I supposed to get there if I don't know the solution? So
correct.
I feel like there's a lot of puzzles like that. So I'm not having, because they're a little obtuse, I'm not having any qualms with looking at the walkthrough to solve the puzzles, to move on with the story, because I'm very interested in the story and the narrative.
Yeah,
I'm
but
very
someone had to
interested.
write those walkthrough.
Someone did
figure
have to
all this
write
shit
these
out.
walkthroughs.
Yeah, I don't know how
That's
they
true.
did that, dog. That's fucking...
Shout out to guide writers out there. If you're writing guides for, like,
Especially for games like
IGN
this. I mean, there's some easy guides out there. This one is
Sure.
particularly fucking
Yeah.
difficult.
yeah, Jesus, I can't imagine. Is there an author name for this Steam one? Because we should, like, give them credit. Because
Yes, the author is Stranger 1982.
shout out to you, Stranger.
Thank you.
for doing the Lord's work. Or
Yeah.
I mean, at least writing it. I don't know if you actually did the Lord's work, if I just found someone else that did it and then wrote a walkthrough about it yourself.
I don't know. They seem to actually have played it. They've also responded to a bunch of comments connected to it. So
Hell yeah. Shout out to you, because without this, I don't know how successful any of us would have been. So yeah. So yeah, I'm still absolutely loving the game. Puzzles aside, I'm just really here for the story. So I don't mind looking at the walkthrough for puzzles, because I'm just wanting to know what the next interesting thing is after all these cliffhangers. And I'm very curious to see how this all wraps up. Like Kai says, there's a lot of holes of information that we don't have. So let's hope all of them are solved by the time we roll credits here.
we
And if
shall
not,
find out.
I've unfortunately, I feel like we've been here before in a lot of games that we've played. So we'll see how that goes. Ben, thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
I think this is going to be one where, like, either everything is kind of wrapped up and there's a little bit of ambiguity, or there's, like, a lot.
We got to figure it out on your own. What do you think happened?
Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I feel like maybe I'm just not the person for point and click puzzle games, because I at least like this feels like a very point and click event, like puzzle. I keep calling them adventures. This feels like a very point and click puzzle game. Like, there are some where you're kind of like, oh, I can follow this, but like this one is so fucking point and click in terms of like the steps you have to take and the way you have to think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting too, because our guest for the next episode, Chrissy, her whole thing is she plays a ton of point and click adventure games. So I'm curious of how this compares puzzle wise to like the normal puzzle point and click game.
Yeah, I do want to pick the brain, because it's kind of like I said about you have to get into a flow state and stuff like that. But like sometimes I feel like even when I feel like I've kind of reached like the peak of my cranium, like I still don't fucking understand what I'm supposed to do. And like, you know, that being said, I'm really enjoying the plot. Like, I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see, do we try and stop Roth, or do we just rescue Annie? Because I'm imagining a nuclear reactor fucking overload in the middle of the desert is going to be pretty hard to escape. So interested to see what happens. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know if we're going to be able to talk Annie out of staying. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to convince her. She seems pretty determined to stay there, and the whole time we've been saying about Roth being a bad guy, she's very like, no, he's not. You just don't understand.
Just don't get it.
You just don't get him. But no, I'm enjoying my time with the game. Puzzles aside, I can't imagine trying to do like a pure run of this, like just like no walkthrough run. This would be
not at all
insane. But I'm interested to see where the finale goes.
Yeah. Kai, comments, questions, concerns?
Yes. As I said, a little concerned with the end of this game. Always get a little tense at this point when we're playing through games like this, because it really is make or break towards the end of how successfully it can tie the many loose threads together in a way that makes any sense whatsoever. I would really have loved to see a highlight feature for this game. As I said before,
highlight interactables.
Let me hit tab. Show me the things. This would prevent the coffee incident. This would prevent me missing things. This would prevent the broom issues. It would show like, oh, I need to interact with this thing, or I need to talk to this person again. That would be incredibly helpful, especially since a lot of the fucking puzzles in this game are insane and make no sense. There is a way to do this type of gameplay that is good. I'm not saying that looking at a walkthrough is negative, and that some games that is definitely useful. It is the amount that you're going to the walkthrough. If I am having to use my walkthrough for every puzzle, that's not fun.
That's my home.
If like an example of this is a game like a good version of this would be like Mouthwashing or Curse of the Golden Idol, where 80 to 90% of the time you can figure out what to do. And maybe you get stumped on something and you spend like an hour trying to figure it out, and then you look it up and you're like, oh, of course. Like, that's very satisfying because you're solving most of it yourself. This is just annoying. And that's not great. Like, I get that puzzle games are supposed to be puzzly and hard. This is, in my opinion, too difficult and too vague in its presentation of a lot of the puzzles and the solutions that you provide. So that's kind of like, I'm kind of disappointed with that aspect of it. Like, I have no fundamental issue using the walkthrough, but I'm using it too much out of necessity, not out of like you're making the choice that you're like, I don't have time to dedicate to playing this. I definitely have time to dedicate to playing this, and I still have to use the goddamn walkthrough because I can't figure out half the puzzles that I'm doing, right? Like, I don't mind putting in the time, but it's just egregiously complicated.
Right.
The characters are interesting. The plot is getting to a more interesting place. Like, the whole idea of him having to save his wife and the moral questions around that and Mick's role and all of that. Like, I feel it's coming to a good place. At the beginning, it was a little rocky, a little vague with what was going on. We didn't really know. Now we have a little bit more context. I think, it's getting somewhere, which is good to see. I'm definitely enjoying my time, but I am a little nervous about how it all plays out and ties together and how many of these questions get answered. We shall see on the next one how that goes. But yeah, enjoying it still.
It won't be long for us because we're recording the finale next week. Grinding baby on the grind. But yeah, that is all for this episode of The Drifter. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for getting to the end of the episode as always. Next episode of The Drifter is going to be on June 23rd, which is going to be the finale of Drifter. We're going to be joined by Chrissy.
About that date?
Yes, I am sure about the date. Looking at the Monday. Well, that was the one I said about episode 2, which is definitely was not the case. But the finale, episode 4, will be going up on June 23rd. Chrissy from Pointy Click Adventure, or Pointy Click Reader, will be joining us for that episode of the finale. And it's going to be great to kind of, see their breakdown of how this compares to other point and click adventure games. And when I asked her about it, I was like, have you played this at all? If you haven't, would you want to? She's like, I've played this game already. And I was like, perfect.
Easy peasy.
Already talks about, she already had said how this game kind of does things a little bit different from normal point and click adventure games. So I'm curious to pick her brain about like how well this is done, what she thinks about the puzzles and everything too. And then obviously wrapping up the finale. And stay tuned to that episode because I'll also be revealing my next main series that we're going to be doing for the podcast.
Boys, we might get some vindication next episode if she's like, yo, this is not a good point.
If she's like, she's the expert and she's like, the puzzles are too.
Or she may turn around and just be like, y'all are dumb as fuck.
Then we're dumb. That's okay.
Stupid. Yeah, that's
this is my opinion. If I want to be dumb in my opinion, I'm going to be dumb in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. And for my next game, I've already said that I will be picking a listener recommendation. So again, go to the Discord, join the game recommendations channel. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because by the time they hear this to leave their recommendation of what they want your main series to be, you would have already picked your main series.
You know what,
not only that, I feel like you've said this like 90 times in the last like 4 episodes we've recorded, so they've just been continually hit with it.
I'm just making sure games. I'm just
we're trying to build a community here, dog.
Yeah, we're building a community, dog. But you're right. I guess by the time you hear
not
this,
listening to,
by the time you hear this, I've already not only have I already picked the game, we probably have already played a chunk of it already too. But the thought still counts. It'll be there eventually for one day when we pick it, where we're not 2-3 months ahead in our recordings like we are currently. Yeah, that is all, boys. You got anything else? Any last words before we part ways here?
If you do see a game in the recommendations that you want us to play, throw a reaction on that. Because we get one that's like 70 hearts on there, and we're like, all right, fine, we'll wait it. All right, so take a look. Even if you don't have a recommendation, take a scroll through the recommendations and let us know if there's something there that tickles your fancy that you want to hear us pontificate on in a 4-episode podcast book club, perchance.
Hell yeah, fucking. He may not be in the Discord, but he knows things, y'all.
Thank you.
He knows shit.
I know some things sometimes.
I was gonna say not to spoil it, but I guess knowing the games that are on the recommendation list is not a bad thing. But someone had recommended us to play Outer Wilds in a traditional book club form, and that would be interesting to revisit Outer Wilds because I haven't played it.
Complicated to do in this format.
Maybe we could break it up. 24 episodes. We just do different chunks.
Completed that game.
Okay, that's crazy.
Okay, yeah, Outer Wilds would be complicated to play in this format. I was getting Outer Worlds and Outer Wilds confused, and I was like, one is a 40-hour RPG and one is a very confusing 20-minute fucking loop
Bramble
game.
Planet is the
talk about puzzles that you would not even be able to solve
my God.
on your own.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
The Ash twins in general, like the whole sand thing. When Mika read that walkthrough, we were just like, what the hell? How do we even do this? It was crazy.
Ben couldn't even finish the game, and he was reading a walkthrough.
I'm telling you, it's the fucking controls in like the fucking anglerfish and the bramblefin.
That's where everyone gets hung up on, is the anglerfish. That is even having the walkthrough, I think it still took us a couple tries to get through the end of that, because you have to do that to reach the ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's on there, as well as there's a lot of Telltale games that are on there too for us to play, because after we did Dispatch, people like the whole decision based game. So there's a couple Telltale games on there too. So you want to see that?
I was eyeing up the Wolf Among Us recommendation.
I've heard good things about the Wolf Among Us as well.
That's the werewolf one, right? The same guy.
Fairy tale.
It's like fairy tale noir,
like Grimm Brother fairy tales.
Yeah.
All right. Well, go let us know.
Yes, no. Leave those reactions. Leave dim hearts. Also, I love how you use like 70 reactions. Ain't no way any of our Discord stuff's getting 70.
I was being aspirational.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the
Can we get
lofty
like
goals.
a click?
You
react?
gotta set the bar where you want it to be, not where
Exactly.
it is. Okay.
That's true. Amen. You know what?
Damn.
Fucking clock it,
Spin
queen.
fact.
Okay, everybody. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the show, and we will see you next week. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Boy.
Gotta.